Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Herrera, and today we'll be talking about strategies to implement micro apps in Flutter. But first, a little about me. I really like creating articles on Medium and creating open source project and sharing my knowledge with the people. Then, 2 years ago, I created a YouTube channel, Wineco. In this channel, we talk about front-end development. And 1 year ago, I created the Flutter Magic community. There are more than 700 of members today. Then it's a good growth in 1 year. I currently work at Bancolombia. We are more than 14 million consumers, and there are more than 5 million customers using applications built with Flutter. And we improve our performance, our time to market using Flutter. Then, seeing this success, Bancolombia decided to support our Flutter Medellin community this year. But before implementing micro apps, we need to create a design system. What is a design system? For example, when you play with Lego pieces or with Lego blocks, you are build amazing structure using standardized components. Then a design system is a several of the standardized components to build any solution. Another example, if you made some appetizer, you are using design system because you don't make a sandwich from scratch. You use bread, cheese, salad, and another elements. These elements are standardized components. In digital, in a second, large companies need design systems. For example, Google has their design system, IBM, BMW, all large companies they needs a design system. But when you need to implement something, you need a methodology. In at Bancolombia, we decide to use atomic design. What is atomic design? Atomic design is a broad force methodology, and in this methodology, we need to divide our digital experience in these elements. The first one are the atoms. The atoms are the more simpler components in your digital experience, like buttons, text fields, and others. When you join uh, some atoms, you can create molecules. Molecules are groups or atoms and retains a single responsibility. When you join molecules and atoms, you can create organisms. And the organisms have multiple responsibilities. For example, a header it has links, search button, logos, and notifications, and another elements. The templates are the next element, are the skeleton of our websites or our digital experience, and the pages are a specific instance of these templates. Here is atomic design. But we needed to add two new layers for this methodology. The first one is the tokens layer with all the definitions, for example, colors, typographies, shadows, animations. And another layer with the foundation layer. The foundation layer correlate these definitions with the components. To understand a little more atomic design, I will share with you a little of code. I create a GitHub project with all our methodologies on Flutter. The name is in Spanish because we are a Spanish community. But in this case, you can see Atomic Design folder. Inside this folder, we have an example about how we can implement a design system using Flutter. In this case, as you can see, the lib folder have the same structure like Atomic Design. In the first part, you have the tokens. The tokens are the definitions, remember. In this case, as you can see, we have a brand primary, brand secondary. We don't have a name of components in the tokens layer. We only have definitions, shadows, sizes, spacing, typographies. In the foundation layer, you correlate your components with your definitions. For example, color background primary equal a brand primary color. Then you correlate your definitions with the foundation with your components in your foundation layer. The same to sizes, spacing, and typographies. Maybe you want to create themes in their foundation. Inside the foundation layer, you can create another layer, an inner layer in themes. And inside themes, you can create anything what you need. And for example, the themes are using the definitions in foundation layer. Let's go and another layer, the atoms layer. For example, the atoms are using the the foundation layer, but they don't use the tokens layer. Why? If you need, for example, this size, you only need to change the foundation layer. But if you use directly the tokens layer, you need go to change in all the parts of your project this token. This is a bad practice. It's better have centralized definitions in the foundation layer. The molecules layer use the atoms layer and the foundation layer. In this case, we are using the wine code asset image atom and some foundation values. The organisms are using the molecules layer and the foundation layer, but if you need an atoms layer, no problem. The external layers can reuse the internal layers. And the templates, we are using all in all our applications templates. For example, the scaffold widget is a template. You can make a centralized templates for your team in the templates layer, like this. And in the pages layer, you can use templates to make standardized pages, or maybe you can centralize your repeated screens in all your digital experience. For example, success transaction is a very normal page in our experience. Then you can centralize this page in your design system. Well, we use our design system to develop all our solutions. And we improve our time to market in 80% only using a good design system. Then we very recommend very hard using design system in all your solutions. But your developers need to understand your design system to use it. Then we build a showcase. A showcase is a website with all our standardized components. As you can see, if the developer needs some element, They can go to Showcase website and see the same structure, atoms, molecules, organisms, templates, and pages. In this case, if some developer needs a button, they can go to the button, go to examples, and in this scenario, if they need, for example, Angular technology, they choose the Angular technology and see in the screen the implementation in HTML and TypeScript. Or maybe if they need to use Flutter technology, the showcase can show the implementation of this button. Then, for this example, I create a little app. Uh, is this? This app show the foundation layer with the headings, colors, and show the atoms, like call as an image, show the molecules, and another things. The important of the a good showcase is the developer can understand the components and how they can implement these components. As you can see, you are free to use and contribute the content of this project, even though for monetary purposes. Only refer to this project, but you are free to use. In the end of this presentation, I will share with you the links to this repository. Another important thing about using design systems is you can centralize your accessibility definitions in one site. For example, molecule, I have the this molecule. If I want to centralize our definitions about a gesture detector, about accessibility, I can only use the semantics widget, for example, and start to define our accessibility about this component and may require the labels about this component. And this is pretty nice. Yes. The next thing, when you when you finish to build your design system, you can go to implement micro apps in Flutter. In this case, we have three strategies to implement micro apps. The first one are the widgets. The widgets in banking world, widgets are a set of screens and functionalities associated with a unique experience, such as sending money, paying bills, consulting products, etc. As you can see in this slide, we are seeing the paying widget, the sending money widget. Sorry, the sending widget have all the screens correlated with this experience. Then we centralize all our solutions in several widgets. For example, if we need a new widget like authentication, or we build a new experience, we reuse all our widgets. We built 2 months ago a new application in only 3 weeks using all our widgets. Is a very very good time to market to a new application. But it's very important you use clean architecture to develop this widget. Why? We need to focus our solutions in the business definitions. For example, after a meeting, event storming meeting, the develop team and the business team understand the entire solution, and they define the entities and the use cases. And in the widget, we only build the domain layer with the entities and the use case and the way UI layer, the user interface layer. Why? Because we have several banks and all the banks using different backends. Then, if you want to reuse the experience, you need to implement the use case, the entities, the user interfaces, but maybe the driven adapters are not centralized in our widgets. Yes? Then we create widgets as package. You can deploy a micro app using widgets, but it's very hard to integrate in your mobile solutions this widget when you deploy like a micro app in your solutions. Then, if you use widgets, a package, it's easier to integrate in another things, the elements. So be more clear about this, I create another little example. We have these widgets, this project with widgets, and I create the album widget. And the album widget is a widget with that shows a list of albums. As you can see, we have a domain layer with models and use cases. In this case, we have models with all the business definitions, and the gateway is an abstract class with the methods that we need to implement for the album. In this case, the album use case use this way, the gateway. Why? Because when you use the widget in an application, you can inject the implementation of this use case inside the widget. For example, I build a driven adapter inside the album widget, but if the app use another backend, they can develop their own get app, custom album API, or their own driven adapter, and then inject this driven adapter in the app. Example use case, custom album API. But if the app needs to use the album API built inside the widget, only needs to change this for this album API. Yes. Right? Then we need only change this part of the code to change the backend of the widget. Then another things are we reusing. For example, the domain layer, the use cases, the UI layer, all these things are be reusing. Then this improve our time to market and centralize our solutions and modularize our solutions in a little elements and not in a monolith. Another strategy to implement micro frontends are the web views. The web views, maybe you need in some scenarios require to integrate web elements into your mobile solutions. Then you can use the plugin created by Google, WebView Flutter. This is the plugin. And I think mm, is subject to reuse some web elements, but not become the primary tool to develop your entry app. Only use web views when you need to reuse web solutions inside your mobile solutions. Yes? Right? This is our advice. Only use web views in some scenarios, but not like your primary tool to develop applications. And another strategy is have backend, front-end, manage front-end elements. A good example of this is JSON dynamic widget. In this case, as you can see in the slide, the backend returns a JSON with the definitions like the list view. The list inside the list view, we have three containers with network image, and the last one with a text. In this scenario, the front only implements these two lines of code and then render this element on the screen. And it is amazing, but only use these elements when you need change a component dynamically without deploying production your mobile application. Yes. Why? Because if you use in your entire app this strategy, you will be more complex to manage your application. Then, only in some scenarios, you can use a backend managed front-end front-end elements. So, we have widgets like the best practice to modularize your digital experience. But you have another two amazing tools, the web views and elements managed by backend. But definitely, everything is the end of the monoliths. Yes, because you don't need continuous creating your solutions in a Terry app. You can divide the build of your mobile solutions by widgets and reusable elements. I build some examples with these methodologies. In the end of this presentation, I will share with you the code and some articles that I wrote in the last months about these topics. Well, any question about this topic?
Well, amazing, Daniel. Gracias. Thanks. Daniel, we have a question. Which status manager did you use?
If you are creating, for example, a widget, and you are build a library, yes. In this scenario, it's a good practice. Don't use any state management because it's a library. But in the app, we are using provider and the block are the two the these two these state managements are we are using these two these are.
Okay. Anyone? Some question? No? Roman? Well, excellent presentation, Danny, and how is important helps to up to speed up our developments. Yes, implementing these strategies. So we have 5 minutes left. We can conclude.
Okay,
yes?
I have a question. Hello, everybody. Hello, Danny. Hello, Camilo.
Okay.
I want to know what is the performance of the library that converts the backend's JSON to front-end widgets. How is the performance there?
Okay. This impact the performance because you need to translate the JSON to a render element. Yes. Then the library translate this JSON to widgets, and in this time the widgets translate to element and next to render object. Then we add a time to the process of render when we use a backend managed from the elements. Yes, right? Then we impact our performance. Uh, in some cases, we detect a little like 3 or 4 milliseconds of difference, but it's a good difference because it's a short JSON. Then you can use this strategy to all the application. Imagine if it is for a smaller component, imagine this for largest component or for entire application. Then we recommend only use backend managed elements for smaller components, and these components are needs to change uh, a lot in the time. Yes, I don't know if
Yes,
I
yes, I get it. Yeah. Thank you.
okay.
Just wondering if we use, for example, protobuffer just to call the APIs, just to mess up all the HTTP protocol 1.1 to HTTP 2.0, so we can, enhance the performance there. But great, it's a great library. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Daniel.
Hi, I have another question. I kind of want to know a little bit more about like algorithmic design in terms of like, say, if you have two apps that interact with each other, um, because maybe like, you don't want to do manual dispatching to send orders to, say, a driver or rider or whatever, but you want to have some sort of, I guess, back end algorithmic management for like automating that process, I guess you'd say, so that like as soon as the customer places an order or like order something, it notifies a driver or someone out like on another application. So like I'm kind of more curious about interoperability between like multiple apps and stuff like that. Like if you have any thoughts or input on that kind of process.
Okay. Uh, Camilo, Cami. In this scenario, when we have multiple apps, I don't know if it's the correct answer, but I will try. When we have multiple apps, we reuse the libraries, yes, but we don't deploy, for example, a micro app and then reuse this element in all our in our applications. But when you have backend that manage your front-end elements, you can reuse this implementation in all your apps. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of going for. It's a little, sorry, the question's a little off topic, but I um I'm trying to wrap my head around that concept right now for a set of applications I'm making.
Okay, this amazing strategy. Maybe be careful to add complex in your solutions. Yes, if you can use a backend that manage front-end elements, use only in the scenarios this component changes continuously in your
Yeah,
front-end solution. Yes.
yeah, I'm thinking I could handle that in Cloud Run or something, but I'm just kind of getting my head around that kind of concept of how, because yeah, I could make a nice front end design with the widgets and stuff like that, but like the main part is that there's an interoperability between these applications.
Yes, that is amazing. And maybe if you are using the another strategy, for example, widgets, you can reuse your elements, but you need deploying to production to see some changes. For why? Because you are using a package. Yes.
Yeah, I am. So I'm trying to kind of like, I'm attending these sessions mainly so I can learn a little bit more about this and kind of wrap my head around some things I need to know.
Okay. Thank you, Julia.
Okay, thank you. Daniel, in the chat, we have another question.
Okay. Do you say it?
I can ask it. Again, just want to say, Daniel, thank you for the presentation. Good job there. Congrats. So yeah, the question is around the dynamic widget builder. How do you set up the backend? Is there a way to automate the creation of the JSON structure to feed into the dynamic widget builder? Because I saw, for example, I also looked at your Medium article. Again, great job on that as well. So I saw the JSON structure where you create like the padding, the width and height, the all the properties and all that. It may be a little bit tedious to do it by hand. Is there a way or like a companion component that you need to set up on the back end so that it generates those widgets so that then you can feed it into the dynamic widget builder? Is there a way to make it maybe easier? I mean, it's cool. It's a cool implementation, but is there a way to make it easier for people to do it then on the back end? I don't know if I'm explaining myself.
Yes. Yes, but I understand. I can use, for example, the library I shared with you have a automatically generator of this JSON. Yes, you
Oh,
can.
perfect. Okay, nice.
Yeah,
Okay, so
you.
there is already, and then all you need to do is just host the JSON because I was thinking like maybe optimize it much further, like even store the information in a database so that you can make it more like a CMS type of deal, like a WYSIWYG type of application that you generate the values and then spits out a JSON that then is fed into the dynamic widget builder, and then it builds it on the fly, as opposed to being like a hard coded JSON served on a server that then you have to go anyway, kind of manually update it. So I was thinking like if there is a not like a tool for the backend service, but I guess there is, but it's just to generate the JSON. But at least that answers my question. So at least there's a way to do it more automated. So thank you.
No more questions, guys. I am trying to improve myself and learning more about the English language. Yes,
Okay.
to then I try to do my best in this presentation. Yes, but I am very glad to be here with yours. Maybe if someone know speak in Spanish can present any topic in our community, in Florida Medellin community, and it will be amazing if you can. And in the future, when I improve a little more about my speaking, I want to make more presentations. I feel it is a challenge to me because it's a hard topic understand and learning about this, but I try to do my best to be clear. And then I hope I explain in the correct way the three strategies to implement micro apps. And okay, see you later, guys.
Thank you, Daniel. And don't worry, your English is good. Thank you all for sharing. And yes, leave up the GitHub link to repository. So,
Yes, give me a second. Please
okay.
start the project. Get started to the project. GitHub project. Give me a second.
Oh, I can put in the meetup. Yes, in the channel, or I'm here. Don't worry.
Okay.
And welcome anytime. Yes.
In the future, maybe I want to speak about another elements. For example, I don't know, the isolates, the render object is a good topic. Maybe in the future.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us in Flutter Canada, and see you in the next event.
Great.
Alan.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.
See you later.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Bye.